Об'єднуємо всю країну і вибираємо найкращого гравця на сайті levmatchu.uaf.ua. Вибирай справжнього лева матчу під час гри.
WhiteBit – офіційний криптопартнер української національної збірної команди з футболу.
Отже, збірна України провела свій перший матч у відборі до Євро-2024 проти надсильного суперника команди Англії. Яка була установка на гру? Що вдалося, що не вдалося в цій грі, на вашу думку?
Так, дуже, на жаль, що сьогодні програли, але установка від тренера була не боятись на полі грати в футбол, те, що ми відпрацьовували на тренуванні. Я вважаю, що моментами дуже добре у нас виходило виходити з оборони, але пропустили 2 м'ячі, намагались відігратись. Ще багато ігор попереду, якщо будемо добуватись результатів.
Наскільки ця гра корисна саме в плані підготовки команди до майбутніх матчів?
Так, була корисна гра. Я впевнений, що ми його розберемо, побачимо наші помилки і будемо покращувати нашу гру та рухатись далі.
Збірна Англії – це гарно знайомий суперник для команди України. Грали проти неї на Євро. Якщо порівнювати ці дві команди Англії, то що можете сказати?
Вона також залишилась дуже доброю командою, але я вважаю, що сьогодні ми зіграли краще, ніж на Євро. Як я сказав, було багато добрих моментів у грі. Так нам є над чим працювати і ми будемо вдосконалюватися.
Сьогодні було чимало українських вболівальників на трибунах. Чи чули ви їх підтримку? Що взагалі можете їм сказати?
Так, звичайно, відчували підтримку наших вболівальників, дуже вдячні за їх підтримку і я впевнений, що ми ще будемо радувати їх нашими результатами і перемогами.
Дякую.
Головний тренер національної команди України Руслан Ротань. Це традиційно, прошу підіймати попередньо ваші руки, і я буду ідентифікувати, кому надавати слово. І так само в зумі прошу використовувати опцію піднятої руки, щоб я бачив, що ви хочете поставити запитання.
Good evening, dear colleagues. Welcome to the press conference of Ukrainian national team head coach Ruslan Rotan. We do, as usual, hands up if you want to ask a question. The same applies to the Zoom version. So let's go ahead.
Yes, please. Будь ласка, почекайте мікрофон, пане Анатолій.
Hang on, we'll give you a mic.
У мене одне питання. Чого не вистачило українській збірній для осягнення позитивного результату сьогодні?
Дякую за запитання. Ну, я рахую, трошки недотерпілими під кінець тайму, тому що, звичайно, коли пропускаєш голи в роздягальню, то вже психологічно треба по-другому перелаштовуватись. І коли ти йдеш в роздягальню з рахунком 2-0 вже на табло за 2 хвилини, коли подвоюють рахунок, то це стає складною задачею для нашої команди, тому що ми розуміли, проти кого ми граємо. Ми грали проти Англії, проти сильної команди. Ви бачили майстерність цієї команди на дуже високому рівні. І, ну, я можу сказати, що хлопці заслуговують більшого. Хлопці, у нас дуже добра команда, потрібен час. Ви побачите, що ця команда спроможна набагато більше.
The question in Ukrainian was, what was lacking to the Ukrainian team to achieve the result tonight? Coach Rotan replied, when you concede goals just before halftime, in fact, 2 goals in a space of 2 minutes, it's very difficult. It makes your task incredibly hard. Ruslan Rotan said, we knew who we were playing against. We knew the quality and the strength of the England team. But yet he can say that the Ukrainian boys deserve better. It's a good team, and it will progress better further down the road.
Yes, please, more questions? Do we have any? Yes, please. Yes, the gentleman in the second row.
Hello. You didn't play a match since September. How hard was it to sort of be ready for this match? And also, there was a lot of Ukrainians in the stadium and some refugees as well. How nice was that from the English FA to bring these people in?
Запитання було, ви не грали матчів, відбіркових матчів від вересня минулого року. Наскільки складно це було грати сьогодні проти Англії? І що ви думаєте щодо того, що на трибунах було багато українців, яким надали квитки і можливість підтримати їхню збірну?
Так, дійсно, коли ти граєш останній матч півроку тому, то дуже складно перший матч дається, тим паче, коли гравці зараз, у нас, можна сказати, ми трошки омолажуємося, і я рахую, що цей баланс, який на зараз є, він в майбутньому дасть дуже гарний результат і зробить дуже гарну команду нашу. Але потрібен час. Я згоден з тим, що для цієї команди потрібен час. І ця перша гра проти сильного суперника, вона показала, що майбутнє в цієї команди є. Що стосується нашої підтримки, нам дуже приємно було бачити велику армію вболівальників наших, які нас підтримували. Ми хочемо сказати дякуємо нашим вболівальникам, хочемо сказати вболівальникам збірної Англії, які також нас підтримували. Стадіон Вемблі – це можна не передати, це потрясаюча атмосфера, яку відчуваєш, мабуть, можна тільки мріяти. І я рахую, що якраз цей матч на стадіоні Вемблі дасть поштовх для нашої команди досягти великих висот.
Coach Rotan said that clearly we need time. When you play next competitive game in half a year since the last one, it's a hard task to perform. Yet Ruslan Rotan says the Ukrainian team is getting younger. We got future stars in our roster. And in the future, I'm sure we'll get good results against anyone. We just need time. It was our first game against an incredibly strong opponent. But then again, judging by what we showed tonight at Wembley, we've got a future. And Ruslan Rotan wants to thank all the Ukrainian supporters for their incredible basically signals to the team, incredible wave of support that the Ukrainian team felt every minute of the game. Yet Ruslan Rotan says he's grateful for the England fans to support Ukraine as well, because it was an atmosphere like no other international game he's ever experienced. And clearly this unique Wembley Stadium atmosphere will give an incredible boost to the Ukrainian players who experience it firsthand. And from now on, it will be only the way up.
У нас є запитання в Зумі. Микола Середич, прошу розмутуйте себе і ставте запитання. Будь ласка.
Доброго вечора. Микола Середич, ютуб-канал «Збірна». Руслане Петровичу, якщо не секрет, яка була мотивація і яка була ідея переведення Зінченка на позицію правого захисника у другому таймі? Дякую.
Матчу трошки, скажімо так, коли заходили в фланг, ми загубили дуже багато м'ячів, тому в цій позиції я розраховував на те, що якраз в цих позиціях ми будемо менше губити м'ячів, будемо більше контролювати гру, і з цим пов'язано, плюс випустив свіжих гравців всередину, щоб дати поштовх і все-таки змогти переломити ход зустрічі, бути трошки активнішими попереду. Але, на жаль, попереду нам не вдалося сьогодні бути дуже агресивними. А що стосується, десь місцями дуже непогано контролювали м'яч, але, скажімо так, мабуть, терпіння не хватало в деяких моментах ще оставляти м'яч в нас, не доставляти його допереду, щоб прийшов момент, коли туди потрібно було віддавати.
The question from Ukrainian media was from Zbirna channel. Question to Coach Rotan. What was the logic by moving Alexander Zinchenko to the right defender's position after half-time? And Coach Rotan said he noticed that Ukrainian team lost many balls in that position, and that was the logic behind moving Zinchenko to the right defender position. And he thought that we will lose less balls, basically. And he thought that it will get more active by playing balls in to our forwards and strikers. And Coach Roten also said that Ukrainian team controlled the ball well overall, but the team lacked patience to create moments. That was probably the major problem during the game.
Any questions from the hall? Yes, please.
AFP. You're planning an entire qualification campaign, obviously in very, very difficult circumstances. How do you cope with that logistically at the start of a campaign, and how realistically, how well can you do?
Запитання від кореспондента Agence France Presse. Ви плануєте всю вашу кваліфікаційну кампанію за доволі складних обставин. І як ви вважаєте, наскільки вам вдасться гарно виступити під час цієї відбіркової кампанії?
Так, дійсно, в логістичному плані нам дуже тяжко. Ми практично 24 години збираємось на матч і приїжджаємо до місця, де будемо облаштовуємо табір, де ми готуємося, тому це дійсно дуже важко, але ми повинні виходити з того, що маємо, з цієї ситуації, яка в нас є. На жаль, війна, і ми це повинні розуміти. Ми тільки можемо, мабуть, подякувати нашим воїнам, що вони дають таку змогу нам проводити матчі з такими командами. А проблема логістики, я думаю, це вже на другому плані. Ми до цього, мабуть, повинні привикнути зараз. І дай Боже, щоб війна швидше закінчилась в нашій країні.
Coach Rotan said, this is true. The logistics of moving from A to B is incredibly hard. It takes us almost 24 hours to get together and move to our training camp before the games. It's very difficult, as you probably appreciate that. Unfortunately, we got a war on our backs, and we can only be grateful to the Ukrainian armed forces who make it possible for us to play games and to participate in competitions. Clearly, logistics under those circumstances could be clearly of second nature. It's not the main thing. The main thing, we need this war to end.
Будь ласка, Василь Медвідь, Зуму, прошу анм'ют і ставте питання.
Доброго вечора, мене чути?
Чути, прошу, так.
Якщо можна, то в мене одразу два питання. Перше, багато вболівальників очікували вихід Віктора Циганкова, який перебуває у прекрасній формі в старті, але з'явився він лише на заміну. Чим було замовлено таке ваше рішення, і чи шкодуєте ви про нього? Також, чи не вважаєте ви, що, можливо, трохи запізнились з замінами, і, наприклад, Артема Довбика можна було випустити на поле швидше?
Розумієте, коли матч закінчиться з результатом, який ми маємо на табло, то можна багато чого казати зараз і виправдовуватись. Але перед грою ми маємо план, який ми бачимо, який ми представляємо для себе. І той план, який був у нас, ми знали і розуміли прекрасно, що перші хвилини, перший тайм для нас буде дуже тяжкий. Збірна Англії нас буде пресувати, буде активно накривати, буде мало часу давати нам працювати з м'ячем. І перший тайм ми потрібні було просто витримати цей натиск, добре контролювати м'яч. І десь в другому таймі якраз ця ідея була, що Віктор Циганков, який зараз дійсно знаходиться в прекрасній формі, ви правильно це підкреслили, повинен вийти і можна так сказати, зробити результат своїми успішними діями. Але, на жаль, ці моменти і плани, які ми плануємо, вони не сходяться. Тому, дійсно, тут не можна сказати, що я як тренер, можна по-різному це оцінювати, можна було поставити з першого тайму, я з вами згоден, але це було моє рішення, і я його прийняв. Що стосується виходу Артема Довбика на заміну, можливо, трошки раніше можна було, але Роман дуже гарно працював як на оборону, і я думаю, що він добре працював якраз на оборону, тому що в нього це гарно виходить.
The question from the Ukrainian media was, many fans expected Tsigankov being in a starting lineup because he's in an incredible form at the minute. And the question was, why was he basically not a starter? Why did coach Rotan decide to basically let him play in the second half? And the second half of the question was, why Artem Dovbyk was basically let to come on so late in the game. Coach Ruslan Rotan said, clearly after the end of the game we can say many things, and we could obviously play with different hypothetics, but before the game they had a clear plan. They knew that first half would be very difficult playing against the England side, and it will be clearly the task to defend in the first half. And clearly, according to the plan, Tsigankov should have been playing in the second half when we would have been at much better position. Unfortunately, our plans did not come to fruition. It did not come to what we saw on the pitch. But Coach Ruslan Rotan says it was his decision only, and he bears responsibility for this. As to Dovbyk coming on late as a substitute, obviously substituting Roman Yaremchuk, the logic was that clearly we could have let Dovbyk play earlier instead of Yaremchuk earlier in the game. But Yaremchuk played so well. He was so crucial in coordinating with the Ukraine team defense. So clearly we had no logic. We had no clear idea in terms of why should we substitute Yaremchuk earlier in the game.
Okay, thank you very much. You have to finish. Thank you very much. Good luck. Дуже дякую.
Andrew, what are you doing here? All right, okay.
So only if we get questions in.
Absolutely, I'll totally know. Hello.
Okay, good evening everybody and welcome to this media conference with Gareth Southgate. Just to confirm, we've obviously got a few members of the media joining us online, so if they do have a question, please raise your virtual hand. And just to confirm, we'll only take translation for questions asked in Ukrainian. So we'll start. Let's go, Mike McGrath.
Overall, in the week, is it kind of been a perfect week for you in terms of the challenges that you've faced and overcome, and the performances as well, including obviously today and Italy?
Yeah, I think Italy wasn't a perfect performance, but we showed some really good qualities and some tremendous resilience to get the result through the last 15 minutes in particular down to 10 men. Today, I thought, was a really high-level performance with and without the ball for the entire game. We set that challenge beforehand. We set it again at half-time, and the players were exceptional. They made a complicated game, potentially, look fairly straightforward. And, I was really pleased with what they did.
Bukayo adding a ruthless side to his game. Can you just expand on that? What have you seen in the past sort of year?
I just think when he's in front of goal now, he plays with real belief, and that's evident with his club, and it's evident in the games with us. You're expecting him to score now when he goes through, and I think that's been a mentality shift as much as it's anything technical. He's always had the techniques, so I think he knows to be a really top wide player, you need the numbers of goals and assists, and he's without a doubt has delivered that all season.
Sammy?
Gav, on Friday night, the second half, you lost a little bit of control. You could have fallen into that trap today, but obviously didn't control pretty much the entirety of that second half. What does that say about the team's mentality? And then just an additional question, the circumstances of Phil Foden over the past 24 hours?
Yeah, I think today it was very simple after half-time the other day. We actually kicked off. We didn't get out of our half for 5 minutes. And we conceded throw-ins, we conceded corners. So the momentum shift in the game, which already Italy were 2 behind and wanting to come for us, the mentality wasn't right. Today we started both halves with far better control. I thought our back players really used the ball well, composed, and then the midfield players were excellent when we turned things over. The counter pressure to win things back really quickly from those 3 midfield players in particular was outstanding. The spaces were for James Maddison, really, for Chile on the outside, for Bukayo 1-against-1, and we didn't tire of doing the simple things well, and we kept feeding those players in those positions where sometimes players are having joy and they start to complicate the game, and it doesn't need to be that way. So I thought we did that throughout the game, and really happy with the performance. With Phil, he over the last sort of 48 hours had been having some symptoms, and our doc got a little bit more concerned yesterday afternoon as that started to become more apparent what it could be. So thankfully, he was in a good position to get straight in to see a specialist and get it operated on this morning. But obviously, that's huge disappointment for him and for us, because he's had a few camps where he's had injury or things that just haven't worked out. But on the back of the World Cup, we were hoping to see that, but he's also been suffering a bit with this foot injury, and I think this is hopefully could clear that up as well at the same time.
James Holly.
Just on a personal note, just how well this camp's gone, the results, the performances, the reaction of the players, the positive environment around the team, does it make you feel that you made the right decision to stay on as manager after Qatar?
Yeah, I think that whatever had happened this week, I still felt it would have been the right decision. I think for a start, I think the team can continue to improve. I think had the decision been different, I think this would have been a really complicated week for somebody else to come in and take 2 matches with such a quick turnaround. But I've said to the players in the dressing room, I love being a part of this team. They're brilliant to work with. The players that haven't got on the pitch this week, Eric Dyer, Mark Gay, Fraser Forster, Aaron Ramsdale, they've been absolutely brilliant. And Kieran Trippier, Reece had 15 minutes where they had to come on, deliver to get us the win in Italy, and they did. And that epitomises the spirit that they've got. Their commitment to each other is fundamental for why we've made progress over the last few years. And they showed that in abundance this week.
James Robson.
Hi, Gareth. It's probably no surprise to you, but after what Harry went through at the World Cup, the disappointment in that game, what does it say about him, what he's produced now in these last two games? And these just individual honours just keep rolling in for him.
Yeah, I mean, I know the goals are of course important, but I liked his all-round performances. He was strong with both pairs of centre-backs that he had to play against, and I thought that was a really good message for the team. He was backing into players, he was aggressive with his play, and I think that's important for him. He's got to continue to do that. So, he's somebody that I think it would be easy for us to get drawn into not challenging, but we've got to challenge him as well. And the individual accolades are well deserved and are amazing, but he wants to be part of a team that's successful, and that's the drive with England for us to achieve that. So he'll be just as happy that we've got the 6 points and that we're put ourselves in a good position in the group as getting the 2 goals this week as well.
Okay, we'll take 3 more, starting with Jacob.
Hi, Gareth. You spoke about Bukayo wanting to add the numbers to his game. Is that hunger to improve part of what makes him special? And also, at the moment, do you see in his position a better player anywhere in the world at the moment?
Well, yes, his hunger, his humility are what's got him on a good path. So he has all the attributes to continue to improve and learn, because that's how he's wired, and I don't see that changing with how he is and how his family are. He's got great support around him, and all of those things are important for a young player. So yeah, I'm not going to get drawn into where he sits in world football, because that would then be starting to put him in danger of doing all the things that we shouldn't be doing with him. So he's progressing brilliantly. He's a joy to work with, and yeah, we should leave it at that.
Isao?
Hi, Gareth. We just heard from Ruslav Rotan, and he was sort of saying about their unique challenges. I just wanted to get a bit of a word on how they handled what they've got to go through 24 hours just to get together, no internationals for 6 months, and then, yeah, just a bit as well about how you dealt with Mudryk today as well, with Walker just up against the pace.
Well, I think in terms of, I can't really begin to imagine what that is like for all of them. What you can feel is their pride in what they're doing. They're a good team, if the timing of your pressure isn't right, then they can play through you quickly and you're in trouble. So we had to get that spot on, and yeah, we're fortunate to have a player like Kyle who physically can deal with the speed of Mudryk, because in another 1-against-1 duel that can be different, and the game is much more complicated. So he dealt with that well, but I think also the team dealt with the balls through the middle, which is where they want to play, and that meant that the supply to their forwards was limited. So our defenders always had to be alert to the runs in behind when there wasn't pressure, but I think the midfield players, our wide players in particular, did a great job of minimising that service.
Finish with Simon Peach.
Gareth, you started in Naples. You said about not taking qualification for granted. After these 2 results, how do you see England's chances of progress? And given the context of this unprecedented season and everything else, have you thought about how you're going to approach June, given that the opponents England will be facing?
Well, I would expect everybody will want to be here. They'll want to be a part of it. We'll, of course, look to psychologically refresh the group by giving them some time at the end of the season. But if we start to think that we haven't got to turn up for games in June because the world ranking of the opponents isn't as high as the 2 opponents we've had now, then we're in trouble, really. So that's not the approach we'll be looking for. And yeah, I don't think the mentality of the team, we're challenging the team to be the best in Europe in the next 13 months. That requires everybody's commitment. That requires everybody to be prepared to play whenever. and that requires the standards of training every day and everything we do to be at the highest level, no matter who we're playing against.
Okay, guys, we'll end it there. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Об'єднуємо всю країну і вибираємо найкращого гравця на сайті levmatchu.uaf.ua. Вибирай справжнього лева матчу під час гри.
WhiteBit – офіційний криптопартнер української національної збірної команди з футболу.